Hello, beautiful souls. All right, so I am hanging out, waiting for Maddie. Usual. It's pretty warm out, otherwise I would be, I should be going for a walk, but it's pretty hot. I don't know about you guys, but man, energy's been, whoa. I think I slept for 11 hours last night. And I didn't have to set my alarm or anything this morning to get up and be anywhere early, but I was super surprised when I had gone to bed at a reasonable time and woke up at 9:30. I was like, what? So evidently, I'm super tired and just dreaming really vividly. Which is pretty cool. Yeah, I had this man show up in my dreams that I haven't seen since a high school reunion. But who knows? Who knows what that's about? Anyway, so I've been having a lot of stuff come up. I know that this is really the rise of the divine feminine. And not only, and I say the rise, but I don't really mean that. I mean, this is a time for us to be very honest with ourselves about our own programming and how we have been manipulated as a society, in society. Doesn't really feel very good. You know, the idea of feminism is definitely not for the ladies, if you know what I mean. It's more of like the downfall of all of society and humanity. And I get it, and I did not see it at first when I was young. Better late than never. And I've been coming into this strange awareness about ownership. You know, because when we talk about, you know, the idea of ownership, especially with people, right? We've been thumped over the head enough to believe that that is definitely not what we should want for ourselves. But I don't see another way right now, other than that is where I am moving into this place of positive ownership. And Teal Swan has talked about this a little bit, but what was coming in this morning for me, I started writing and then I just got off track with all of these messages that were coming in for me, like individually, so I just stopped. But like the idea of, it's like consecrated ownership with the intention of enhancing divinity. It's all about honoring each other, respecting each other, holding space, you know, and it is, you know, this idea I want a soft place to land. And I mean that I need somebody to contain me, to hold me, keep me safe. And so I know, I've been keeping myself safe, but I'm exhausted. I'm ready to team up. And the idea of having somebody else want to hold me close and for me to not have to worry about things, like anything. I am a fixer. I can do that, but it would be really nice to not have to worry about everything. I am looking for somebody to notice me, see me fully, and to honor me by holding me safe, holding space for me. Holding a container for me. Anyway, a lot of different things have been coming in, especially that and the idea of ownership. But I want somebody to choose me and to be like, I've had plenty of guys lately that are like, oh, you're mine. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. Because they're just boys. Do you know what I mean? But I know with my heart of hearts that there is a man out there that can see me and be like, we're made for each other. And so I've been getting lots of lip service, like that, like, oh my gosh, I'm made for you, you're mine, blah, 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 but it's definitely not. It's the training wheels on, right? It's not the real deal. And I see it. But I am ready to be, it's not kind of even claimed. It's such a weird thought. For a man to come in and say, let's do this thing together. Let's do this. I've wanted help in my life for years and haven't really got it. I get a lot of people that say they'll do things, and then when it comes down to it, there's no follow through. And I'm like, well, I do have an issue with that too. I typically do follow through eventually, but a lot of these guys haven't followed through at all. Like, no, you're not for me. You're not for me if you can't follow through with things. I can't trust that you really have my back. So that's been coming in. And then the other thing that has been coming in is all about sexuality and programming and dating, this idea that, a lot of people just are on online dating stuff to just hook up. And that doesn't feel good to me. I don't get anything real out of it. That's not what I want. So figuring out exactly what I want has been really good because I've noticed all of this sexual shame that was pretty much pounded into me from the time I was small. And I was not really raised in a very religious family. We went to church, but it wasn't like it wasn't like super religious, but you know, in the instances of having sexual experience as a young person, or sexual-ish experiences as a young person, you know, my parents tried to stamp it out with both feet, and that ends up looking like it's not acceptable. Like there was no room for sexuality. Like it wasn't expressed. It wasn't even, you know, you weren't supposed to think about it. If you did, there was something. Well, I mean, let's be real. We are sexual creatures. The idea of stamping it out of us is the desire that is denied. And I'm recognizing it now. And I'm seeing how that suppression has affected my entire life. It has affected my behavior. It has affected my ability to see opportunities. Pleasure is a worthwhile endeavor by itself, for the sake of pleasure. And I know that a lot of you would probably be like, no, I mean, not logically. I'm not talking about logic. And the more I sit and think about this over the last week, logic is programming in a lot of instances. And in some cases, it's not. So like I'm putting together this list of what I want in relationship, in a intimate partnership. And I'm noticing how, what it is that I want and what it is that I don't want. I can make all of those lists. I can make the negotiables and the non-negotiables. But what I also have been noticing as I've been meeting these people, these new people, and then these surprising people that are in my life that are switching their own roles in my life through their own growth. Let's not become fixated on any person filling a certain role. We need to be willing to shift that. That's what I'm learning now. Because I had this man in my life who, I mean, I love hanging out with him. He's funny guy. And we have a good time together. But all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. If he all of a sudden was like, wow, you know, maybe he likes me. Maybe he changed. I don't know. But all of a sudden he's giving more. I mean, he's offering more. He's like, hey, Sally, let's go get pedicures. Or, hey, Sally, let's go do this. Or, hey, Sally, why don't we go take a walk? I want to show you something. And it's like, that was not, you know, he was very take me or leave me. So here's the thing, we are changing. And as we shift as this divine feminine energy, and we really start to embrace our passion, and we want to live with it, like every day, we're not just relegating our passion for at night in the bedroom, behind closed doors, where we are actually living connected to our sensuality, our passion, our desires. And I'm not only talking sexual, but we are connecting more to ourselves. So when we start to do that, we are offering ourselves in a much more open, bigger way to the divine masculine. And they are also being pushed crazy like right now to really hold space. And probably even to notice in this much of the same way that us as gender divine feminines right now are noticing that all of the programming that was supposedly in our best and highest good is actually not. Feminism did not help women. In the spiritual sense, it actually set us back. And so notice how you are feeling about the idea of ownership, of having a man come in and claim you and, positively want to own you. How do you feel about that? And what would that even look like? These are the things that are just popping into my head right now. And I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. I am so ready to surrender to somebody who is worthy of my surrender. I don't think I've found him yet. But what's crazy is that I'm watching these men in my life and they're getting closer. Like, it's almost like one day I expect they're just going to embrace this divine masculine and be able to hold space. It's crazy. As the individuals keep doing this work, the collective is shifting too. Anyway, so that's what I've been going through. It's been a lot of really deep stuff. So I've been having to look at how I view sexual relationships. What kind of sexual relationships do I even want, if I at all? And how am I going to manage that at the beginning? Because there is this societal thing that, like, people just sleep around, and I can't do that. And I'm energetically, it's a nightmare. But also I'm looking at, I'm like, wait, is the reason I can't do this because of my own programming? Because I'm a good girl? Well, let me tell you what, I've not always been a good girl. But do you know what I'm saying? It's like all coming up all again for me to look at this and be like, I just don't want to judge myself anymore for any of it. I see it all as learning. So I'm acknowledging my desires. In fact, I'm writing down right now before I push the button. What do I want? What are my negotiables? What are my non-negotiables? Love you.